Fittest. I am the co-founder, partner, and director of sales for Agility Technologies Corporation. This is going to be a 4-part video series on our product, First Look 360. We're going to talk about the camera and its design. Another video will talk about the USAR Kit 1, the USAR 1 that we have in front of me here. We're also going to talk about the First Look 360 application on Android, talk about all the detail within the application, and ending off with the actual operation of the camera, how you use the camera in the field. Stay tuned. Hi, it's Matt here again. We're going to go over the First Look 360 camera on its own and its design. As you can see, this is kind of a unibody design. We built this for the purpose of not using articulation, which most cameras in the field have, where you have to move a camera head left or right, turn the pole, move it up and down. This camera does not have that. There are no moving parts in this camera, which make it really significant when you're using it in the field. Because of that, we use spherical imaging. We take 2 wide field of views from each lens that you see here, and we stitch them together using software in our application. We'll get to that later. This camera is IP68 when using the environmental lid. There are 2 battery lids, battery enclosure lids, sorry, that we offer with this camera. We use an audio mic lid as well as an environmental lid. When using the environmental lid, you have the ability to have this go underwater up to 3 meters for 30 minutes. I will preface that this is not an underwater camera. It was never made to be an underwater camera. However, you have that ability if needed, and you can use this in very wet conditions. The camera is a little over a foot long in length. It's less than 2 inches in diameter. Like I said, we have 2 lenses either on each side of the camera head here with protection ribs around the lenses to protect them from scratching when they go into the space. We have a rubber stop on the head that you can take off if you wish. This protects the camera head as well. Around those lenses, we have 6 LED lights that you can certainly brighten to full brightness or dim them down through the application, the FL360 application. In front here, we have a heat sink that includes an LED. The heat sink does get warm and in some cases gets hot. There's a reason for that. It vents the heat within the actual processor inside the camera. And much like your phone, when you're streaming on your phone, you'll notice that the camera gets, or your phone gets hot on the rear. Basically, this vents the heat within the camera. There's a serial number on each camera. This is the when you're pairing your camera to the actual application, the serial number is important. It's there to make sure that you're pairing to the right camera if there are multiple cameras in the field. And then there's an LED light here that when you power up the camera, you'll see lights. They all have a specific purpose. A blue light will come on when you power the camera on for the first time by holding the power button here for 4 seconds. That blue light will last for about 37 seconds before it shows one of 3 lights, a green, a yellow, or a red. The green, yellow, or red are indicating the battery power in the camera itself, and then it will go into pairing mode, which will flash red and blue, and at that point you can pair the camera to the actual application. Like I said, there's a power button here. Holding it on for 4 seconds to turn on the camera, hold it for 4 seconds down for it to turn off. The rear, we have a mount here for a pole that we provide in the kit. And then, of course, we also have wired capability for the camera. The camera operates in 2 different modes, a wireless mode and a wired mode. On the rear of the camera, you can see that there's a wired connection here, okay? The system in the USAR 1 kit has a wired configuration up to 10 feet to the length of the actual extension pole that you have in the kit, okay? In wireless mode, you can actually get a distance up to 100 feet. Of course, that's an open air environment, line of sight. Most cases you're going to get between 10 and 80 feet depending on the environment that you're working in the rubble pile and materials and so forth. I will make a prediction that you're going to use this camera in wireless mode probably 95% or more when you're using this system. It's also important to know in the camera that we have 2 different battery enclosure lids. Mainly the one that you're going to use is the speaker and mic lid. Obviously this allows you to do 2-way audio with the victim within the actual void space. The microphone will also be used for some other features in the future. But we also have an environmental lid that does not have a speaker and a microphone built into it. And when applied to the camera, this will make the camera IP68, which allows us to go up to 3 meters for 30 minutes if needed to go underwater. Now, we never built this camera as an underwater camera. I want to preface that right away. However, we know that you're going to be using this camera in wet conditions, and there is going to be a time where you might not know that the camera is going to go into a void space and then eventually go underwater. So in wet conditions, very, very wet conditions, certainly using the environmental lid will be a way to protect the camera. You can use the audio and mic lid in wet conditions, but if there's a feeling that this might go underwater, use the environmental lid. 2 batteries go into the enclosure. I'll talk about these batteries later, but simply just put your batteries in and you're ready to go. The unique thing about these batteries is that when the camera's operating, you can hot swap. So if one is actually fading, you can take one out, put a fresh one in while the camera's still operating, and do the same with the other. That's the battery.